Hi, welcome to the Sage X3 session, Why is there no 1099 data? This is based on the 2020 1099 update. In this session, we're going to look at when there's no 1099 data. Why is there no 1099 data? What transactions should be included in the 1099s? And then we'll look at resources for 1099 information. So a little note on the 2020 1099 update. The 2020 1099 update was for versions V12 and V11 only. With the release of 2020 1099 updates, 1099 NEC forms, that's 1099 non-employee compensation forms, can be generated and printed for version 11 and version 12 only. See Sage City Forum article, Sage X3 and 1099 year-end reporting for Sage X3 life cycle policy information as it pertains to the 2020 1099 updates. So on to why is there no 1099 data? So we go to declarations, fee declarations, United States, processes, 1099 summary, and we run the inquiry. And the inquiry returns no data. What do we do now? So why is there no data? Well, did you run the inquiry for the correct calendar year? So we can check here, and yes, we ran it for 2020. Have you run the Calculate 1099 payments yet? Now this function populates the 1099 tables, and until you run it, there's no data for 1099s. It's found under Declarations, Fee Declaration, United States Processes. So let's go run the Calculate 1099 payments. Okay, so now we're going to go ahead and calculate our 1099 payments. So click here. Now we're going to go down to Declarations, Fee Declarations, United States, and Processes, and click Calculate 1099 Payments. It has the correct calendar year, which is 2020. I'm checked log, and I've done that because I always like to make sure that when I'm finished that I have a log of what's happened if it's available. Now this option is default 1099 form and box from supplier. You use this if perhaps you went through the year and did not have the box and form selected on your invoices. So what this will do is it'll go back to the supplier's default 1099 form and box, and we'll bring this down to all of the invoices. And then you can go ahead and correct those as necessary. So now I'm going to hit OK. I don't need that because I've checked everybody. I'm going to hit OK, and we'll start processing. And this shows you, this is my log. It shows you all my payments. I've got quite a few. And then I can go over here and exit. Now let's go back and go to our 1099 payment summary. I'm looking for company NA10. I'm going to do it for all my suppliers. And we're going to search. And lo and behold, I now have data. which I can start to review. Now you may have noticed on the 1099 payment summary that all my 1099 forms and boxes pertain to the 1099 miscellaneous. Why aren't these payments on Form 1099 NEC Box 1? How will I move them? So let's do a quick refresher on the 1099 NEC. And NEC is non-employee compensation. Now the requirement to track non-employee compensation on a separate form began on January 1st, 2020. Basically what this does is it shifts the tracking of the non-employee compensation, that was box 7 on the miscellaneous form, and direct sales of $5,000 or more, that was a check box, box 9 on the 1099 miscellaneous. So now the non-employee compensation is in box 1 on 1099 NEC. 1099 NEC has a box 2 checkbox to indicate payer made direct sales totaling $5,000 or more of consumer products to recipient for resale. Then the 1099 miscellaneous has box 7 checkbox, which reads payer made direct sales of $5,000 or more of consumer products to a buyer, in parentheses recipient, for resale. So how do I move the payments to the 1099 NEC form? When you print out your 1099 NEC forms, those incorrect 1099 miscellaneous amounts will automatically be mapped to the appropriate 1099 NEC boxes on the printed forms. The movement is triggered by running 1099 generation under declaration, fee declaration, United States processes. Note, the 1099 payment summary will still have the 1099 miscellaneous values. A duplicate 1099 miscellaneous form will not be generated for this vendor, and no additional work is required. What transactions are included? Let's take a look. So first, payments must have accounting dates within the calendar year. Invoice dates are irrelevant. It's only going off the payment date. It's a cash basis. Your fiscal year is irrelevant. This is all based on calendar year payments. So let's look at some examples for 2020 1099s. Now, my invoice was done on February 2nd, 2019. My check was done on 12/31/20. So is this included? It's included because the check date is 12/31/20. That falls within the calendar year. Now, my invoice was January 1st, 2020. My check was January 6th, 2021. Would this be included? Not included. Why? Because the check is in 2021 and not in 2020. So let's look some more at what transactions are included. Invoices paid within the year must have been associated with a 1099 form and box. So if you've got an invoice that wasn't assigned a form, then it's not going to show up. And individual invoice lines may be excluded from 1099 calculations. Only a portion of the check will be 1099able if it's been excluded. So let's take a look at an invoice associated with a 1099 line. So now let's take a look at the relationship between the payment and the invoice and that 1099 code. So I'm going to go here to 1099 summary again. I'm going to look again at a NA10. Just going to run everything. And let's take a look at supplier NA053. You notice that it has the 1099 amount of $1,000 for box 1 with NEC. So let's dip in here. Go to Edit 1099 Data. And wait. It says the payment amount is $1,050, but the 1099 amount is $1,000. So how can that be? So let's take a look at the invoice. Now my invoice says $1,050. Okay, let's go down a little further. It has the non-employee compensation, box 1, but it says $1,000. But my invoice is $1,050. So let's go down here to the lines. And we'll move this over more to the center. And you'll see that the first line item has $1,000, which matches what we're seeing is 1099able. And it says yes. And the 50 says no. Now there may be something on an invoice that isn't 1099able. And you can do this. Split it. And we go back. And now we understand why the 1099 amount is $1,000 and the payment amount is $1,050. Now if I'd made a mistake, and it should have all been, I can correct the amount here. But any corrections that you make in the Edit 1099 data, be sure that you document them, because there isn't a log for it. Additional 1099 resources. So for additional resources, we have what should be included on 1099s and due dates. For there, we'd want to go to the irs.gov website or check in with your tax accountant or advisor. Now we have a knowledge base article of 1099 FAQs. That's number 18346. And you can locate that at sagekb.com. In addition to frequently asked questions, it includes links to downloads and other related KBs. It also includes links to Sage City blogs. And here is the link to Sage City and the Sage X3 support blogs. Thank you for joining me in this 1099 session. Don't forget to check out the previously mentioned additional resources if you have any other questions on 1099s. Thank you.